Well, I'm back. Cop picker, I'm having internet problems, which I've told you about. They're taking a 15-minute break. This is, you could say, part 2 of the Karen Reed thing today on Tuesday, I think 26, I believe. And I wonder, most attorneys, like I said, I'm not an attorney, people, but I attend trials like that. If it happens, they usually ask for a change of venue or a change of judges, stuff like that. But why haven't heard attorneys ask for a change of venue or a change of judge? I don't understand this, I think she got 4 lawyers. If you saw, you had 3 guys and a lady besides Karen Reed. After day's over, you might want to go to Turtle Boy. He'll probably go into more detail. But thanks to Turtle Boy, this is why it made the national news. And another YouTube channel, the DUI guy out of Louisville, Kentucky, he's streaming it on his channel. And since he's a lawyer in Kentucky and been in over 100 trials, probably 1,000 trials in his career, and he explains this. I happened to come up on his, and I decided to live stream it. And I like Karen Reed. Do I believe she killed him? No. If you all go back to the trials and watch other videos of Karen Reed, they show videos the police did at that trial where they was behind her SUV. There was no broken tail light. No broken tail light until after they towed it back to the police department, park it in a Sally Port. People, when I know about Sally Ports, their cameras is always rolling. For some reason, the cameras didn't work. Something happens to the camera. Also, you got to remember, people saying, she was drunk. She never was arrested for being drunk. She never been charged with being drunk. No blood work. No breathalyzer. I don't see how come they could bring it up since she was never charged. Like I say, I'm not a lawyer. You people that are lawyers know what I'm talking about. You all know how to answer this question. Like I say, I'm not a lawyer or in the field of a lawyer. I used to help a lawyer over 25 years ago. I'm not going to mention his name since he's in heaven. I research cases up on the internet, federal law, state law, Court of Appeals laws on a case like, but I can't understand how come the lawyers did not ask for a change of venue. Well, when I take my glasses off and I look, what's on here where my chat is, I can close my left eye, it's still a little blurry. But my eyes is getting better. My right eye here is getting better. And I know it probably will be on tomorrow, but I have an eye appointment at the Vision Works. And they probably going to take an x-ray of this eye right here. Let you know, I had cataract surgery a week ago yesterday. The only thing I didn't like about it, people, I'm going to tell you are, in case you're going to have cataract surgery. You're going to sit there 3 to 4 hours before you even get back to have your surgery. The paperwork, the x-rays, the eye tests, eye drops, and the IV needle stick into your hand. Your EKG stickers they'll put on you, and the hospital gown, which I believe it was a throwaway gown, is one I believe. I wish I could tell them I like to keep it. I would love to keep that old hospital gown, but when I go in next month, I will ask them if I can keep it. I paid for it. So I want to thank you all. Give me the thumbs up, subscribe. I need your help to get me to 1,000 subscribers. And YouTube rules, 1,000 subscribers, you need 4,000 watch hours. Okay, then they drop it down to 500, but 2,000 watch hours. I need to get my watch hours, to do that. And since they taking a break, they give you all a chance to take a break, go to the bathroom, fix you some popcorn, or fix you something to eat, since it's about 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Indiana. I want to thank all you people that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. And it has donate through PayPal, Cash App, or the post office box. But also, happy birthday if you're born today. Happy anniversary if you got married today. And I make a point to say this, ladies. You're always right. Men, that's how you stay married a long time. Your wife is always right. Hello, Yoakum. Yeah, I got it. I got some clean socks on because I'll wash a few clothes today. Hello, Joanne. This is the second time I came live since they're taking a 15-minute break in Karen Reed's thing today. I guess maybe you call it a pre-trial, but people, I don't understand. I know there's a whole lot of smart people out there. I know there's probably lawyers on here. I know there's a few lawyers, which I don't mention the name, because they got my phone number and they text me in case I make a boo-boo on copyright laws or something that might be slander, stuff like that. But community rules for my YouTube channel, people, this is God's YouTube channel. God rules. And I add stuff in there for dummies. Because there are people out there that's not too smart up here. That's how come I explain it where you all can understand it. No cussing, no fighting, no sexual harassment, no sex of any kind on here, no gay stuff. Don't tell me you're gay because that'll start fights with people. I got some mean moderators. If you start cussing or fighting or putting people down, you get in timeout. But it's up to them to give you 86 seconds timeout or 24 hours timeout. It depends what you say. I know other people's YouTube channel, you can get by with stuff. They cuss, sexual harassment, hate crimes. I don't go by that. I want everybody to be good on my YouTube channel. This is why my YouTube channel is different from anybody else's YouTube channel. Will I be live Wednesday? I'll probably come live after I leave Vision Works. That's where I go, and they tell me if my eye swelling went down, and they take an x-ray. You know, if you've been to the eye doctor to get your glasses, you know what I'm talking about that I have to go through tomorrow. I'm not giving you the time limit. And also, I have not heard from LG Thank You people or Sears repair people. Which Friday, nobody's going to be home. And LG told me, I think it was last Monday, maybe, I'm not sure, 1 to 5 days that Sears would contact. It been over 5 days. If you count business days, it been over the 1 to 5 business days. Haven't heard nothing. They mess with the wrong person. I've looked on the internet for this TV station troubleshooter. And I'm going to give them until 4 o'clock today. If I don't hear anything, I will file a complaint with the troubleshooter of a local TV station. I think LG, people, if you could tell me, is LG part of GE? I remember years ago, GE used to also, I know they are, Joanne. They have a problem with the LG Thank You stove that I got. They don't want to send a repairman out. I looked it up on the internet, what that stove costs. It's about $1,000. It's not Home Depot's fault, people. I don't blame Home Depot. LG's blaming Home Depot, but it's not their fault. I've looked on the internet on Thank You, LG Thank You, on recalls. They got problems. Well, I got a bunch of phone numbers, Joanne, and your people that I got. Every time I call them, you can hear in the background, you hear a bunch of other people talking back there, talking to other people on this telephone. But I will stop at Home Depot Wednesday. They got, I guess, a sales rep or employee of LG that stops in there. I'm trying to get his phone number. Last Wednesday, they thought they had it, but they didn't. I told them, I said, I'll be stopping in tomorrow, which was last week. I'll be stopping in a week to see. And I will leave my phone number with them where that LG rep could get in touch with me. But people, I want you to be careful. That's one thing I express to you on my channel. When you go to buy something new, if it's a cell phone, computer, washer or dryer, dishwasher, icebox, kitchen stove, anything like that, or a TV, do your research. Look it up on the internet. See if it had any recalls on anything you're going to buy, or if they have any problems. You know, I've looked on the internet for LG corporate office. Yeah, well, when I started telling them that I'm putting it on my YouTube channel, I did put it on Twitch.
To the notebook, we've spoken about the March 20 and March 22nd email from Mr. Wolf to Mr. Jackson. We talked about.
I agree with you, Joanne.
Council. We've talked about comments of Your Honor. June 18th, we've talked about briefly the voir dire of Dr. Wolf and the opportunities the parties had there. We talked about the June 22nd and June 23rd's emails from Dr. Wolf to Mr. Jackson and the proximity of those emails to the restart of the trial on the 24th. The 24th is the trial transcript of Dr. Wolf. July 12th, the date of the invoice. As Your Honor well knows, we got you when that invoice was paid. And now, with all of that, what I am going to do, Your Honor, hopefully productively, with no speculation.
Okay, so you don't have to tell me what you're going to do, just go ahead and do it.
So I will just go ahead and do it, Your Honor. Now to the transcript. And as I go through, I start on page 53.
Okay.
Line 19. And this is Attorney Brennan. Your Honor, my purpose is not to deprive the defense of an expert. I'm going to stop there. That statement is I will carry forward about the Commonwealth's statement that they're not seeking to deprive the defendant of ARCA as a witness was made 5 times. I counted them and I'll go through each one and number them. Or deprive the defense of an ARCA expert in this case. Very important, because my perspective, what was put in the firing line on February 18th was the ARCA experts, albeit indirectly. So now we go to page 54, and this is going to be, in some points, a line by line, because the words matter. Line 5, and this is again is Attorney Brennan. Mm-hmm. Well, what the government worries about is that there is other things that are relevant, like compensation, promise, reward, inducement, whether there's collaboration between one side or the other, and that expert witness that they don't know about and can't ask about. I'm going to stop there. That they don't know about? Really? Don't know about the ARCA experts? February 12th report? A voir dire? Knowing the purpose of the voir dire was we wanted to have these witnesses testify. And then the next statement, and can't ask about? Really? Can't ask about? Voir dire, the opportunity. Next statement, that there's some bias or favoritism that the expert might have towards one side for whatever reason. I don't know what's meant by favoritism, but having worked with experts almost every week, you call an expert to testify. I don't know if I would call it bias, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that if an expert's going to come in and give opinions helpful to your client, that expert is biased, but this expert was not engendered by the defense. It was engendered by the U.S. Attorney's Office in their federal investigation. Next, on line 12. So that if that information is not disclosed, really? It was on February 12th of 2025. Now I'm going to get to this because, and this is not speculation, this is fact, the entire buildup of February 18th was on the false foundation that the Commonwealth had gotten all the information that they were going to talk about until Your Honor's break from the federal government and not the defense, which was completely false. So this is a buildup. It's all in.
And what was the date again that the defense provided it? The Friday night before our hearing, was it?
It was, I will tell you this, I'm going to have to think out loud here. I'm going to answer it. I think it was February 12th that it was provided of 2025. But it's important to state why that date. Please recall, Your Honor, that the Commonwealth had not yet issued its certificate of compliance with discovery. And I know I don't need to tell Your Honor the rest, you know it better than I do, about counsel's obligation to turn over discovery, et cetera, et cetera. So
I agree with him.
I don't know if the Commonwealth on the 18th genuinely didn't know that it came from the defense as opposed to the Commonwealth. But what's very, very clear are the statements that I'm going to go through that were all built upon the foundation that they learned about this all from the federal government and that the defense had not turned over anything, which is completely false.
Okay.
So let's go through each word because it gets really important. When there are claims made that the defense has not turned over something and there are words used like ambush and duping, it's important to understand and get behind those verbs as to what the facts are. So the next. So if the information is not disclosed, then it's not only an impediment, it creates a position where there's an unfair examination. Really? Voir dire occurred? It's not the ARCA witnesses that I have the issue with. That's number 2 of 5. The Commonwealth is not saying we have an issue with ARCA. And why do I keep repeating this? Because my conclusion is going to be ARCA should be unscathed. ARCA should be available to the defense. And I'm going to get to more of that in a moment. So it says it's not the ARCA witnesses that I have the issue with. It's the issue, the fact that I don't have adequate discovery. Those words, I don't have. The Commonwealth had for 5 days the very discovery that was being discussed that the Commonwealth didn't have. If the defense is going to be a proponent of those witnesses, they have obligations, Rule 14 obligations for basic discovery. I agree with that. I agree completely with that. And we complied on the 12th. And it's for this trial that matters, Your Honor. Your Honor has commented
Change the
before.
finger, change the judge.
This is a new trial. This is a second trial. I've tried unsuccessfully sometimes to talk about the baseline with the Daubert issues, and Your Honor has rightly commented, well, Mr. Alessi, this is a new trial. Point taken. Now, I wasn't at the last trial, but I've read the transcripts. That's an important point, Your Honor. Mr. Brennan has said before that he, earlier in these pretrial proceedings, that he hadn't had a chance to watch, hadn't had a chance. And believe me, I can empathize with Attorney Brennan on that. It's a lot to digest. He and I are both coming into this second trial new. So I appreciated the comments he had made before. But his comment here is I've read the transcripts, and I'm going to assume that for the very important topics he was talking about, he had read the transcripts. But again, that would be something that only Attorney Brennan would know. But it's an important point to point out. That was the representation. But I've read the transcripts. And then he goes on, and he, on page 55, he repeats what we went through about June 10th and what counsel for the defense had said, so I'm not going to cover that. He's just reading what I took head on before the break. And so we then turn to the continuation of the buildup, which is at the bottom of page 55. Attorney Brennan. Now, I have some familiarity with the federal government. Seemed to me, based on my limited experience, there was much more to the story. And the story is about interactions with the defense counsel. That's what was talked about above. So I called the federal government. There's no statement here. There's much more to the story. And I've got the discovery that the defense provided that told the complete story. So there was, and I'll tell you, my impression from what is stated here is that counsel made these representations, but the Commonwealth couldn't evaluate them because they didn't have information, so they went to the federal government. So I called the federal government and I tried to encourage them to provide full discovery so that the experts could testify. It's another statement so ARCA could testify. I was resigned to a TUI letter. I've been down that road many times. It's a dark road that never sees the light of day.
Amen.
So I filed a TUI letter, comprehensive TUI letter. And it was delayed. And over a long period of time with requests and deadlines, I finally received a response that was unresponsive. This is talking about discovery and information about ARCA that was already in the possession of the Commonwealth. And it was striking that it was noted it was unresponsive just when I read the materials. I don't know which materials Attorney Brennan is talking about. I'm going to give Attorney Brennan on this one the benefit of the doubt that he's not talking about the discovery materials that we had provided, because I think fairly read in context, that's not what he was referring to, but I don't know what's being referred. It's not the point I wanted to make. And Attorney McLaughlin actually identified them. They didn't respond to our request, so Attorney McLaughlin wrote back, and then we got new materials, just some. Got them from the federal government. It's not a statement that he got them from the defense, which is a fact. And then we got new materials, but a qualifier, just some. But these materials were the very reason why the defense should not be able to call witnesses without giving full discovery. We had given full discovery. We had given it. Having not been at the last trial and reading the transcripts, I only have a flavor for the last trial. So there is email correspondence between the defense, not only the federal government, but some ARCA, the witnesses themselves, and recent requests for. So he's saying, this is what I got from the feds. And what do I discover when I got this information from the feds? When he really got it from the defense. There's email correspondence between the defense, but not only the defense and the federal government, but the ARCA witnesses. And then he goes on. But if we look back earlier in the relationship, what we see back in March 22nd, 2024 is that there are conversations between the defense, Attorney Jackson and Daniel Wolf, who's one of these ARCA witnesses. And then he goes on and he reads the email. But the clear import of the point here is that the Commonwealth is saying right here that this is when I discovered these emails. This is how I got them, not from the defense, but the federal government. And we know now that that's incorrect. Then we proceed down to page 57. The Commonwealth, as I understand it, was not aware of any promise, rewards, or inducements, or payment. They relied on a reciprocal discovery order of this court for that information. That's a misdirection. That's a misdirection.
I don't know what misdirection means.
No
people.
Promise, rewards, or inducements or payments before all of those documents that the Commonwealth is referring to here. That didn't come until the invoice came in July. And it wasn't even a promise. It was pursuant to the conversation of Assistant U.S. Attorney Deutsch that, yeah, you guys got to pay it, and it's okay to pay it. line 11. He reads, response, "Hi, Alan. Subsequent to our conversation on Wednesday," this is, I think he's reading from the March 22nd, but one of the disquieting aspects of this February 18th discussion is it's not chronological, doesn't have dates, so it's kind of hard to follow, but it certainly gave the impression, clearly, not the impression, it was stated that these came from the government, and I'm going to get to it when Your Honor was asking very apt questions about dates. But this is a very interesting paragraph. "Hi, Alan. Subsequent to our conversation on Wednesday, the U.S. Attorney's Office asked me, are there any further conversations? Did we receive additional information from their office regarding how our involvement will move forward?" Your Honor, I'm going to please ask you to turn back to tab 1 of my notebook, because this was a purported quote of the March 22nd email. That's really not close to what the email says. It's not totally incorrect, but here's what I'm going to do, Your Honor. I'm going to assume that the court reporter's transcription was not accurate, and Mr. Brennan accurately, because I'm going to give Attorney Brennan the benefit of the doubt, because I can tell you that I've had my statements in court not completely correctly transcribed by a court reporter, and unfortunately sometimes it's been on some key things. I don't think this is key at all, but I just note it. But it says, Mr. Brennan goes on, "Now it's the opinion that troubles me. Its relationship, and the Commonwealth should have an even playing field." That's number 4 of the time he's not having any trouble with the ARCA experts. Saturday, June 22nd, Daniel Wolf wrote, "Alan, I spent some time this morning putting together a brief outline of my qualifications," blah, blah, and this is just a repeat of what we've already heard. Here now comes the important points. Page 58, line 2. "Now, this isn't information provided by the defense in reciprocal discovery." Oh my. This isn't information. He's talking about all these emails. This isn't information provided by defense in reciprocal discovery. This is information provided by the federal government after numerous requests, touring requests, and in insistence, the best I can to get as much information as I can. It's incorrect statement number 2, and it's an important one. Down below, unfortunately, it gets even more incorrect. Defendant provided an outline of questions and answers for the direct examination. Please put this in context, Your Honor. The Commonwealth appears to be believing that they got the information from the federal government, not the defendant. So they've got the outline, and they're now accusing the defense of having essentially drafted the outline. Defendant provided an outline of the question and answers for direct examination. My, that's not a fact, but if that were true, that would be very bad.
So what I'm going to do, I had no idea it's this late. So it's 1 o'clock, we're going to break for lunch, we'll stop back up at 2.
Okay.
Right. Do you think, I have no idea how much longer you're going to be, Mr. Alessi. Do you have an idea, and I'm not rushing you, do you have an idea, because we do have the other motions, if we can't get to them today, we'll spend those 2 days next week with them.
I'm going to answer your question. I think I can conclude in 45 minutes, because I have to get to the law, the 3.3a.
I'm not rushing you, I just wanted a time frame.
Best answer, and I will say this, Your Honor, I share your interest. I'm presenting some of these motions, and I have a strong desire not to get back here for that. So I share the goal, believe me.
Okay, so we'll see everybody at 2 o'clock.
You are muted.
I want to thank you. Thank you all very much. Since they coming back at 2 o'clock, taking their lunch break.
Goodbye.
That means I will head up to the dollar store, pick up the weekly newspaper for Clark County and stuff like that. So I'll be back later with part 3. I want to thank you all that gave me the thumbs up, that subscribe, that follow me. I also want to remind you, happy birthday, people. If you're born today. And happy anniversary if you got married today. Also, men and young guys who's dating or going to get married, to last 10 to 60 years of marriage, here's some good advice. Your wife is always right. Your girlfriend's always right. You gotta compromise. You gotta help her around the house. Help her clean the house, wash clothes, learn how to cook. I know, men, you know how to cook. And I want to thank you all. I come back with part 3 about 2 o'clock. It give me time to run up to the dollar store there and pick up the local newspaper, Clark County and Scott County. And I want to thank you all very much for joining me. I'll be back later. I want to thank all the good moderators I got. Can't do it without you. People, that's one thing you do when you get on YouTube, is get your good moderators that you know for a long time, that you can trust and not work against you like I had a few of them who was computer hackers. But like I say, I catch you all later. Peace. I love you. It's warm outside. I got to run up there and pick up the paper and see if my son's awake and see if he wants to head up there. So God bless you. I see you back, I guess, at 2 o'clock. I love you all. God bless you.